Fantasy Football starring Mclovin in the Big Ticket has been brought to you by Is the Father in the Picture Productions. When you don't know where the father is and you're having some issues, ask if the father's in the picture. All right, guys, welcome back. It is Fantasy Football starring Mclovin in the Big Ticket. We got Von Miller and we got Mclovin, and we got some news and notes to go through. I want to welcome all the new subscribers. Appreciate you guys checking us out. Remember, there are giveaways. I'm going to do another league for week 2 for all you new subscribers that obviously were not able to get your picks in. Remember, if you get your picks in, the picks have to be in before Thursday night's kickoff. Okay, if the picks are in, you comment right here on this page. If you end up beating Mclovin and or the Big Ticket, you get a gift card of your choice to any restaurant or anywhere you want, and I will send that out to you. We did that all last year. It's pretty awesome stuff. So we'll have 2 leagues. We'll start up the first league, which was last week, and then we'll have the second league. We'll call it the Better Late Than Never division, and we'll start that up this week, okay? So let's go right into news and notes. Let's go all the way down here, okay? Appreciate everybody watching.
Yeah, absolutely. So our viewership bumped up like 4 times over.
Pretty good stuff. Okay, so Cardinals guard Mathis leaves with injured foot. Arizona Cardinals right guard Evan Mathis returned in the third quarter after leaving Sunday night's game against the New England Patriots in the second with an injured foot. Start with Mclovin.
Sure. He's a guy that's a Pro Bowl guy, probably their best offensive lineman. If anyone watched the game, you could see that he just got rolled up, left on a cart, which is not good. He really anchors the middle of that offensive line. Especially in the run game with David Johnson. Obviously, he's a beast. Hopefully, we'll talk more later in that as far as the game goes between. But Mathis is a top-notch guy, and they're going to miss him forever, how long ever he's out.
All right, Big Ticket. Cowboys wide receiver Williams regrets staying in bounds. With Dallas trailing by a point against the Giants in the closing seconds, Terrence Williams failed to reach the sideline to stop the clock and give Dallas a chance at a game-winning field goal.
Yeah, he blew the game. I'm sure he regrets it. It's in that situation, it doesn't matter what level of football you're playing on. Especially in the pros, you got to get out of bounds. You got to stop the clock because that was the only chance they had to win the game, and he lost it for him. And it was just not a heads-up play on his part.
All right, Mclovin.
Yeah, it's football 101. If the game's coming down and you got the ball inside the red zone and you don't have any timeouts left and there's 9 seconds left on the clock when you catch the ball, you have to get out. There's these guys want to be heroes. They really want to be the guy, and you wanted to figure out something, but it was he fucked up and it cost him the game.
As my football and baseball coach in high school, Leo Seiberts, would have said, don't do the funny play. Don't do the razzmatazz play. Just do the normal play.
Correct.
Yeah. And in baseball, he would say, stop throwing the funny pitch.
Yeah.
Just throw it over, one of those deals. All right, Mclovin, Cardinals defense doesn't live up to hype and lost to Patriots. The Cardinals couldn't stop a Patriots offense led by Jimmy Garoppolo in a 23-21 loss Sunday at University of Phoenix Stadium.
I don't particularly believe that their defense played that poorly. I think that you got to give all the credit to New England. They came in there. They didn't have their 2 Hall of Fame players and a quarterback in their tight end. I think New England did everything right. They caught him off guard basically on all the drives they went down. Arizona, they really took advantage of that rookie cornerback, and they exploited him all game long, whether it was against Chris Hogan when Chris Hogan made the touchdown catch. And further down the road, Mitchell, the rookie wideout, made him look stupid a couple times too. They weren't even touching the side of the field where Peterson was on, and they attacked the rookie all day long, and the Cardinals never came up with an answer to help the kid out. Now, with all that being said, you got to give great credit to the offensive line. Dante Scarnecchia coming back is one of probably the best offensive line coach in the history of the NFL. They had some once again no-name guys on that offensive line, and they did everything in their power, and they more or less made Arizona's rushing attack pretty much obsolete. Calais Campbell, who's 6'8", he got through a couple times, but you got to give a lot of credit to the game plan for New England to having a starting quarterback, a rookie pretty much, his first start ever on the road against a team that went to the NFC Championship last year at their place. The whole world is watching, and for New England to come out and just stymie that both their offense and defense. Tyrann Mathieu didn't look that well. I don't know if he's still hurt, but Edelman made him look stupid on a couple plays. But like I was saying here last week, this is the type of game where everyone's going to count New England out, and everyone counted New England out. And these are the type of game that Belichick gets their guys up, regardless who their quarterback is. Now, across the board, I think Arizona thought they were going to just win that game because of the fact they didn't have Brady or Gronkowski. But all three, they missed a late field goal, which would have put them up. Their defense didn't play as well as they should have, and their offense as well. I mean, they had spurts here and there, but basically, the New England Patriots did whatever they possibly could to win that game, and they deserve all the credit.
Big ticket, Chargers will need a lot of help to replace Keenan Allen. The Chargers will need several players to step up to fill the void created by Keenan Allen's potentially season-ending injury.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Keenan Allen. He missed half the season last year, and now going to miss the whole season this year with his injury, and he's their number one guy there as far as receivers go. They've got that kid from Cleveland, Benjamin, I believe his name is. He's going to probably be the biggest guy filling that role, but they're going to spread it out too. You're going to see a guy like Danny Woodhead be more involved in the passing game. He's a guy has experience playing receiver and has always kind of done that running back receiver in between kind of role. And I know they've got a young guy whose name I'm not 100% sure of, but I think we'll be hearing about him in the next couple of weeks, who they hope can fill the void too. So it's unfortunate for Keenan Allen. It really hurts the Chargers moving forward this year, and we'll see how they recover.
Just to build off of that, the Chargers are done. They're they have no fan base. Okay, no one's going to show up and watch them. No one cares about the Chargers, and when you go up by 23 points and then you find a way to lose that game on the road against a divisional opponent, it's ultimately they shit the bed big time. And now they're just going to continue to lose for the rest of the season. I am counting the Chargers out completely for the year with the loss of Keenan Allen. I think Melvin Gordon's pretty good. He had a good week. He had 2 touchdowns. Danny Woodhead coming out of the backfield. But basically, they lost their best receiver in the first game. And the only way they were successful last year was when Keenan Allen was 110%. Now, I don't care who they have on the bench. No one is Keenan Allen. And Gates is 87 years old, so you can't really count on him. Basically, the Chargers are not going to have any support from their fans. They're not going to, I think it's going to be another, 6-10, 5-11 seed for the Chargers, and they're just going to break all that group up next year.
All right, Mclovin, you touched on this earlier. Rewarding Patriots' victory, a strong reflection on Bill Belichick. Playing with an undermanned roster, the Patriots credit Bill Belichick with pulling out a close win against the Arizona Cardinals.
There's a reason why he's the best coach ever in the history of the NFL. You can go up and down the list and maybe pick 1 or 2 of these coaches out there in the NFL that could have led a squad in that situation to a win. Basically, he doesn't give a shit what anyone talks about. He doesn't care about the media. He only cares about what he knows, and what he knows is the guys in his locker room, and he gets them fired up in whatever way he needs to. You don't hear any bullshit coming out of those players' mouths. They stay within themselves. They don't say anything stupid. They don't create distractions. But in any normal team, when they lose, when they're getting ready to go on a flight and their best player other than Brady doesn't get on the flight, that usually counts a lot of teams out there. Woe is me, and they're going to start crying and being females about it. But not the Patriots, and this is from for the last 16 years now, that the Patriots, whether they're more talented or less talented, the team that they're playing, Belichick's going to get every single ounce of effort out of every player he has on that team. And basically, with him and Patricia, 2 great defensive minds, they can figure out any offense. And I mean, Larry Fitzgerald had a great game. I mean, David Johnson had a great game. I mean, but they still limited them enough to put them in a place where they can win. And I think the most underrated player on the New England Patriots team is Stephen Gostkowski. I mean, Patriot fans have the luxury of knowing that he can step up there and kick a 53-yard field goal, and everyone's expecting them to hit it. You know, a lot of these field goal, we talked about the field goal kickers last week. You know, a lot of these guys are not trustworthy. One, for example, the kicker from Arizona, I mean, he shanked it, he shit the bed. So, you know, I think a guy like Stephen Gostkowski takes pressure off of the entire team, because especially the offense, and particular in the way they kicked that field goal, they knew they just had to get an extra 2 or 3 yards, and basically didn't have to force going for it on third down. They could just pick up a couple extra yards so he could have plenty of room. And he could have knocked that one down from 60 yards. It was still flying through the air. So basically, Belichick is everything that he is for a reason, because he is an ultimate leader, and he uses whatever talent that he has. You know, whether it's switching in and out D-back, defensive backs, Malcolm Butler, and the kid Logan Ryan, and all these guys, are a team, and the New England Patriots are what a team is made to be. They are a true football team, and a true football team is always going to beat teams that have individuals who think they're better than their own team.
All right, big ticket. Russell Wilson's injury could require Seahawks to tweak offense. The Seattle Seahawks may have to adjust their offensive game plan against the Los Angeles Rams if Russell Wilson's ankle is less than 100%.
Well, yeah, I mean, a big part of Russell Wilson's game is his mobility. So if he can't move around, if he can't get outside the pocket, they are going to have to change some things, but it won't be a massive overhaul. They're not going to come out and, run a different scheme than they've run all year, but you might see less of the bootleg stuff and more of, him trying to throw from the pocket, which, is not his strength, but he's still a better pocket passer than I think people give him credit for. He's 5'10", which puts him at a disadvantage as far as, throwing the ball. He's one of those guys that needs lanes to throw through, so that, he's asking more from his offensive line, but they've been able to do that for him. As far as the injury, I don't think it's going to be something that really affects him hugely, moving forward past this week. I think he'll get healthy and he'll keep doing the things that he's been doing to lead the team, but anything, any kind of setback is something they can't really afford, because they went out and played a close game against a team that was not, nobody expected them to win. Nobody expected Seattle to lose the game, but they almost did. So they need to get some stuff together. But Russell Wilson, he'll persevere. He'll play through it.
Mclovin, following turbulent week, Carson Wentz helps put Eagles' locker room at ease. Although there were some doubters on his own team, rookie quarterback Carson Wentz answered the call with an impressive debut.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he played real well. Now, it was against the Browns, so let's all keep that in perspective.
It's the type of team he's used to playing.
Correct. So let's see, before we start jumping all over these rookies, let's just see what he can do for the first 4 or 5 games. But basically, he did what he was expected to. I mean, he did what he was asked to do. He led that team, and that team played a lot better than any Philly team that I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. Because there's no bullshit, there's no garbage going on with Chip Kelly and this guy going in for this guy and then trying to run as many plays as possible, which really affects your defense. Now, they got the coach, I think his name is Peterson, the offensive coordinator from Kansas City, a guy that knows how the ultimate ball control offense, and protecting Wentz and let him doing his thing. I think this guy's going to be a star in the league if he continues to get better. Basically, we talked about this last year. Rookie quarterbacks that come in, if they're really good, they're more apt to be successful in their first 2 or 3 games because there's no film on them. They don't know how to defend them. But basically, the defensive coordinators in this league are very, very intelligent, and they figure out a way to take down the rookie. Now, last year, Marcus Mariota was a perfect example. Was once they figured him out, he was pretty much useless for the rest of the year. So basically, what makes a good rookie to a great rookie is once they figure you out, how successful you are about beating them anyway.
Absolutely.
I think this Philly team, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be they're going to get, beat the shit out of each other in that NFC East. And if he could, in turn be the rookie of the year or something on the offensive side of the ball, then that gives Philly that much more of a better chance to win that division. But like I said, we'll see how we can do against a better defense than the Browns. The Browns are terrible.
It's promising, though. It's real promising.
Better than what I thought.
He's got all the tools to do it. The Browns are a bad defense, but he shows some serious upside. So hopefully he can lead.
Who's that last question aimed at?
That wasn't me.
Okay, so big ticket. Touched on this a few seconds ago. Carroll is counting on Wilson to play despite sprain. Seattle Seahawks coach Pete Carroll said he expects quarterback Russell Wilson to play in Week 2 against the Los Angeles Rams despite a sprained ankle suffered in Sunday's opener.
Yeah, he's definitely going to play, and it's a sprained ankle, so it's not like, anybody who's played any kind of sports at any level has played through a sprained ankle. So he'll be fine. It's the NFL. He's making big money. He's the leader of his team. He'll be fine.
Mclovin, Cardinals GM, lost to Patriots, quote, unacceptable. Cardinals GM Steve Keim says he's, quote, embarrassed by his team's loss to the Patriots, and the team, quote, needs to improve.
Well, I mean, you got to look at this from a couple different angles. Obviously, he's mad. If he was happy that they lost, then there'd be a problem. So, I don't think it's such as bad of a loss as a lot of other people think. Should they have won the game? Yes. But you got to. I mean, New England is better coached. They coming into that game, and now if this was like the Miami Dolphins or like the Buffalo Bills on a Sunday Night Football and they lost, I think there would be more concern. I think you got to give more credit to New England than what he's doing. Obviously, he can only focus on what his team did. He blatantly came out and was called out a lot of different, the tackling. He called out the field goal kicker.
It's the first game of the year. You got a long season.
Sure.
I think you're really overreacting to one game at this point.
Now, if it's a pattern, he said something about Carson Palmer and the receivers weren't on the same page.
Give it 4 weeks. If you're still doing this, then you got a problem. But the Patriots are a good team, and like I said last week, I wouldn't be shocked to see them win because they're a well-coached team and they show up and they're focused on the right things. But
big ticket Cowboys rookie Ezekiel Elliott awaits better days. The anticipated debut of Ezekiel Elliott was underwhelming as the Giants held him to 51 yards on 20 carries, but he showed there is good to come.
Well, I mean, yeah, he didn't have his best. Well, I mean, he had his best game. It's his only game, but better games are to come for him. He got a touchdown last week, correct? Like, I'm pretty sure he scored. So, I mean, it could have been worse, but yeah, I mean, he's got a great offensive line in front of him blocking for him. He's, we haven't seen what he's going to do as a pro yet. Obviously, I know that's what Pat's going to say. We anoint him and then all that. But if there's one thing that's proven as far as, guys being successful in college jumping into the pros, running backs seem to be able to make that transition easier than other positions. So I expect with the offensive line that he's got in front of him, he'll be successful. The issue is going to be how can Dak Prescott move the ball through the air, and can they establish a passing game that'll allow the defense to back off a little bit? Because if they don't respect the pass, you see it happen to Adrian Peterson all the time. The teams don't respect the passing game. They're putting 8 guys, 9 guys in the box, and it doesn't matter how good you are. You're not going to be able to consistently beat 9 guys in the box. So if Prescott can stretch the field, he'll give him an opportunity to have a good rookie year, and I expect him to.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Dak Prescott played extremely well, and I think if that asshole doesn't run out, if he actually goes out of bounds and allows him to kick the field goal, we're talking about a whole different article here. I think Ezekiel Elliott is obviously top whatever back by all the talking heads and everything like that. I do think he's a very, very talented back, by far the best rookie talent coming out. But at the same time, he's still a rookie. You gotta let him develop, and it's not all his fault with all the hype. But I think Dak Prescott was more of the shining star in that game. I think he did a great job, and I think this is gonna be a better Dallas team because usually when they lose, they're losing games that they're just blowing it. This was just a stupid mistake by a receiver. I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to be a good player. I think Dak Prescott's going to be a really good player, and I think that Dallas is going to do a lot better than with a lot better than I thought they would do without Romo.
Well, how do you like this one? Browns put RG3 on IR with shoulder injury.
Well, I mean, RG3 really, it's really sad, what's happened in his career. This is a guy who was all everything at Baylor and can't miss, number 1 overall pick. Really, really got himself injured by trying to do what he did in college in the NFL. And there's a lot of these, Colin Kaepernick, Don McNabb, all these guys who come up as running quarterbacks. And then later on, as they go in their life, they're not taking as many running plays outside the pocket because of how injured they get. And RG3 is a perfect example of that. He got hurt. They tried to force him back. He got hurt worse. Kirk Cousins comes in. RG3 gets into some shenanigans with his team and never really overcomes it, and then gets shipped off. A great talent, but now he's starting over in a team like Cleveland. Now he's done. So I think Robert Griffin Jr. or the third or the fuck his name is, great talent, but I don't think he's ever going to be, not even an average.
He'll never live up to the potential.
So, but it's not all his fault. But the bottom line is no one in the NFL gives a shit. They don't care. It's just no one passes out. Cards, get well cards throughout the NFL. So we'll be talking about Robert Griffin III next offseason and where he's going to be next. But basically, his season's over, and it looks like soon his career will be over.
Big ticket source: Eagles Ertz ruled out with rib injury. Zach Ertz will probably have to be cleared medically before he plays again, Coach Doug Peterson said, after the Eagles tight end suffered a rib displacement against the Browns on Sunday.
He'll probably have to be medically released. Is that what he said?
Probably have to be cleared medically before he plays
medically. Yeah, I mean, Zach Ertz is a guy who he was a big part of the offense last year, and I projected him to be a big part of it this year with a rookie quarterback. Those tight ends tend to be the safety blanket for the rookie quarterbacks, and he was a guy who caught a lot of touchdown passes last year, so I anticipated him being a big part of the offense. I don't know how long he'll be out with an injury like this. It could be a couple weeks and then he's back full strength. We don't know, but if he's healthy, at least with a rib injury, it's one of those things where you come back and he'll be back ready to go once the rib's good. It's not like he's going to have to, work himself back into shape or anything like that. It's just one of those, pain tolerance kind of injuries. It's not going to stop him from producing on the field when he's healthy. So
McLovin, Rivera, Newton expected to play against 49ers. Panthers coach Ron Rivera said he expects Cam Newton to play Sunday against the 49ers, even though the quarterback took at least 4 helmet-to-helmet hits in a Week 1 loss to the Broncos.
Yeah, Andy and myself watched this game. He was... The thing with Cam Newton is when things are going great, he's fucking dancing, and it looks like a big joke to him, and he thinks he's better than everybody. He's better, Then once adversity hits, and, he was clearly tired. He was not in shape for that game. That doesn't give the Broncos, who are the dirtiest football team in the NFL, right to hit him in the head consistently. Now, I know the Broncos are going to defend themselves. They play hard or whatever. But anytime you have helmet-to-helmet with a quarterback, these guys are professional athletes, okay? Just like a major league pitcher, he could hit a guy in the head if he wanted to, and the ball didn't slip. These guys know what they're doing with their bodies. There's a reason why they play football. They know that they can go helmet-to-helmet on every play if they wanted to. So were they targeting, the quarterback, Cam Newton? I would say probably yes. Did they get away with a lot of stuff? Absolutely. But still, Cam Newton needs to, be a man and grow some balls and not have to go through the media or not cry about it and whine about it and complain about it, so everyone and their mother knows on national TV that he's not upset and he's not getting the calls. And That's basically
That's the kind of stuff that makes a team target you and hit you in the head 4 times in a week.
Now, I don't think they deserve to win that game. You know, they had a shot, but, you know, they were resting on their laurels. They're up 17-7 midway through the third quarter, and they had the whole game. You know, pretty much all they had to do was run the ball and not turn the ball over, and they turned the ball over and gave Denver, a team at home, enough, you know, crowd power and gave them a chance to come back and win the game, and that's what they did. I think Cam Newton needs to shut the fuck up and be a man and take it and move on to next week, and that's the only way he's going to be mature enough to be in a conversation with a Brady and a Rodgers and a Breeze, guys who take hits to the head, don't come out and complain about it, and just move on. Is it bullshit? Yes, but what do you? There's nothing you can do about it now. So I think that team Carolina's still in a weak division. I think they'll eventually, you know, win that division, but I think Cam Newton needs to grow up a little bit.
Big Ticket Ryan says Watkins with his foot could possibly play versus Jets. Rex Ryan said Monday that Bills wide receiver Sammy Watkins could play Thursday night against the Jets despite soreness in his left foot.
So this is a foot that he had surgically repaired in the offseason, and you know, it being the first legitimate full game action, you'd expect there to be some soreness from that. I heard a lot of conflicting stuff over the course of the week. Some people saying he's going to be out for a long time, and then he comes out and says he's definitely playing on Thursday. So hopefully it's nothing more than, you know, the soreness you'd expect after going through something like that and it being tested for the first time. Sammy Watkins is a game-changing receiver when he's healthy and he's good to go. If you look at his stats from, you know, last season, he came back week 9 or week 10, I believe, and he tore it up all the rest of the year. So if he can get healthy, he's going to be a big threat for them, and he's going to help them win some games.
McLovin, Broncos Marshall loses second deal over Anthem. Broncos linebacker Brandon Marshall, who has now lost 2 endorsement deals for kneeling in protest during the national anthem, will meet with Denver's police chief to discuss social awareness issues.
Such a fucking... I'm glad all these fucking assholes that think this is a cool thing to do. Now, at least, I really, really like what these people that do the endorsements, whatever they call, they're doing something like this. Because now it's hitting them in their wallet. And with these type of guys, once you hit them with the wallet, then they're going to be like, okay, I can stand now if I can get my money back. So that just shows you how much of a bunch of bullshit this is. It doesn't mean anything. I think they should just do the national anthem with no players on the field. So this is it. All they're doing is these guys are doing it just for the attention. And they're doing it just so they can have people talk about them. And they're doing it. I mean, these guys, you know, they're in the NFL. They make millions of dollars. And we've been over this is all because of you know, what people do overseas to protect and serve. Now, if you still don't like that, to get the fuck out of our country, and we'll see how easy it is then to make money in the CFL or overseas or something. So fuck you, Brandon Marshall. Fuck you, Colin Kaepernick. Be a man. Stand up for what we do in the United States. This is really getting ridiculous because the reason why they're able to make millions of dollars and never have to worry about a thing and all they do is playing a sport is because of what our soldiers do on a day-to-day basis, give their lives for the freedom that we have, that we can have NFL football and make billions of dollars on NFL football. These guys, I like what the endorsements are doing, taking that back. You'll see very soon that if he loses another endorsement, he'll be standing for the national anthem because money is more important to him than anything else. So these guys will figure it out soon, and it really you know, pisses me off because there are a lot of people out there that, you know, make, you know, $40,000 to $50,000 a year, but are over in Iraq fighting these ISIS, there's fucking lunatics, you know. And having to deal with, you know, these terror threats and everything, just so this guy has the option to not stand during the national anthem, which is like a spit in the face, and I think they should all be thrown out of the country.
Big Ticket, we talked about this. Chargers lose wide receiver Allen for a year due to ACL tear. Chargers wide receiver Keenan Allen most the remainder of the season after tearing the ACL in his right knee Sunday against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before. They're going to have some people that are going to have to step up and fill the void. But the Chargers, I agree with Pat. Chargers are done. They're easily the worst team in that division, and losing one of your best offensive players isn't going to make you any better. So they're done. Anytime we talk about the Chargers, we'll probably just be talking about how sad they are from now on. So,
but just to lose that game, they were up.
I think it was 28-3.
28-3 or 10, and that, I mean, just to let a team come back, and I mean, that just shows you that
a team that's not full strength.
Exactly, that is terrible. That is absolute garbage.
Football.
Spencer Ware runs all
bad
over you.
football. It really is.
All right, here's speaking of bad football. Mclovin, Packers Shields his second concussion in 9 months. Green Bay Packers cornerback Sam Shields suffered his second concussion in less than 9 months during Sunday's regular season opener at Jacksonville. Test confirmed Monday.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really mess around with these concussion things. I know the players had it their way. They'd play no matter what and, deal with that later, shit in their pants later with the concussions. Basically, if you have the concussion, then you're not going to play. Sam Shields is not a young buck. He's been around the NFL. And the concussions, the more you have them, the more, the better the average that they're going to come back and do it again. So he won't be playing, and if he does, he'll probably get another concussion. So it's just going to come to the point whether you want to keep on playing or you want to get more concussions. So, if he really cares about having a life after football, then he'll probably make the right decision and step away.
Big ticket evaluation of shoulder after 3 to 4 weeks will determine Robert Griffin III's fate. Cleveland Browns quarterback Robert Griffin III suffered an injury not many have heard of before, and it's too soon to fully assess the impact of the injury.
So, yeah, I mean, RG3 coming out of college, second pick in the draft, there were some people that, I wasn't one of them, but there were some people that, would have taken him over Andrew Luck at this point. That seems kind of like a joke. I think he got kind of a raw deal in Washington with everything that went on with that, but he didn't adapt his game to play professional football. And the reason why he's getting these injuries is because he's trying to play like he's, playing the future doctors and dentists of America. Like, these guys are professional football players. They're going to hurt you. You're 190 pounds. Like, he's not Cam Newton. He's not the size of a linebacker out there running around. He's the size of my dad running around. And he has taken such a step back from the potential that everybody thought he had. Now knowing that he can't stay healthy, I don't see another team like Cleveland stepping up and saying, "Hey, here's the keys to the car. Like, see what you can do." I don't think that's going to happen. So, it's unfortunate for him, but his season's done, and it's pretty much the end of his career.
Speaking of what's happening, I can't wait to go over this topic with you. Okay, you ready for this?
Oh, boy.
We talked about it a lot last year. A lot towards the end of last year's season. Bengals stay silent on playoff loss to Steelers. Right, with a Week 2 showdown ahead for the Bengals, Cincinnati is choosing to not discuss its playoff loss to the Steelers this week.
Well, we talked about this loss last year with just the guys that would never be confused for Rhodes Scholars. When we talk about Pac-Man Jones, who's a criminal, Vontez Burfict, who's a criminal. All these criminals, really cost their team the game. Now, last year they played good enough to win that game against the Steelers, and they should have won that game.
Stupid.
And then
it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Burfict gets whatever. He hits the guy, almost kills Antonio Brown. Denies it. Then Pac-Man Jones, the class act that he is, comes out and says that Antonio Brown was faking the injury. So they're all pieces of shit. The Bengals are a bunch of hoodlums, okay? And someone's going to be making it. There's going to be some sort of fight on it, because these teams hate each other. I'm not saying Pittsburgh or school cadets when it comes to getting in fights and everything like that. Joey Porter will probably be out in the field talking shit. And it's all convicts, guys that don't deserve to be playing football. They deserve to be in jail. And the bottom line is it's going to be a great game.
It's going to be chippy.
And it's going to be, there's going to be some flags.
It's going to be hard-nosed football.
It's going to be hard-nosed football. And, hopefully, the Bengals, I think I'm going to pick the Bengals plus the points in this one. But, it's just, there's nothing you can do. There's really nothing you can do but sit and evaluate. But, last year was a terrible loss by the Bengals, and especially their head coach, who Marvin Lewis, who can't win a playoff game to save his life. I think he's 0-9. So we'll see what happens. But it's week 2. It's not the playoffs. But I think there should be some fights to look forward to.
How has he kept that job for as long as he has?
Because he's in Cincinnati, okay? And just by winning the division, that's okay with the Cincinnati owners. That's all. If he continues to win divisions, which he does, and get to them to the playoffs, that's more than they're expected to do. So that's the bottom line.
Here's the bottom line, Big Ticket. Mike Zimmer won't name starting quarterback before Packers game. Will Sean Hill or Sam Bradford start a quarterback for the Vikings against Green Bay? We may have to wait until Sunday to find out.
If they're not naming the quarterback now, then I would be inclined to think Sam Bradford will be the guy getting the start. Unless for some reason he's really not ready. And then trading for him really looks like a smart idea. One of the worst trade, probably by the end of the season, we'll still be talking about this as the worst trade ever made, at least this year. Trading away a first-round pick to bring in Sam Bradford, but
just to ride the bench.
Just to ride the bench. Have a seat. But I think he will be the starter, and it's not going to be based on merit. It's not going to be based on anything other than the fact that they traded a first-round pick for him, and he was a guy, the number 1 overall pick coming out of college. He had potential. They say he's an accurate passer, but, you go back, and the one thing he never did in college was really take a hit. There was never a pass rush on him at Oklahoma. He just sat back there and just stood there forever and was able to sling it across the field somewhat accurately, and it hasn't worked out for him in the pros right now. This is his 3rd stop, and he'll get a shot to start and over Sean Hill, I believe, but who knows how it'll go. I still think the Vikings are going to have a really tough time getting to the playoffs this year with the quarterback situation the way it is.
I think that Sean Hill went out and did his job, and that's what Sean Hill is going to do every single week. Sean Hill is, why fix it if it's not broken? Now, if you play Sean Hill and they lose a couple games in a row, then have at it. Put in Bradford. But as long as Sean Hill is going to be the quarterback of that team, he is not going to lose any games for you. Whereas Sam Bradford will and has proven to lose games for teams by making stupid plays. If Minnesota's smart, they'll continue to play Sean Hill.
But they won't.
And I think that Zimmer is wise enough to play him because that's their best chance of winning. Sam Bradford does not give the Vikings the best chance to win.
Speaking of stupid plays, Del Rio says Crabtree made, quote, Kenny Powers gesture. Michael Crabtree was using a, quote, Kenny Powers got his pitch back gesture when he was hit with a 15-yard penalty and not a throat slash, Raiders coach Jack Del Rio said Monday.
I don't even know what that is.
I was going to say, good thing this isn't
Who's
my topic.
Kenny Powers?
Kenny Powers is.
It's a show. It was a show, it was about the baseball player.
Kenny Powers got his pitch back.
Oh, with the mullet?
No.
The guy with the mullet?
The guy with the meow.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. But basically, Del Rio, give him the balls of the week, for to go for 2. I really like it. I think now Michael Crabtree, we've discussed Michael Crabtree, me and him, butted heads for about 9 months when it was my job the story about me and Michael Crabtree is it was my job when he came into rookie camp and everything to make sure that he was at every meeting on time. And basically, he didn't like when I picked him up from the hotel and brought him over. He was late one day and he wanted me to run a red light, and I said, I'm not doing that. And he started swearing at me, and basically me and Michael Crabtree do not see eye to eye. If he knew that he wouldn't get in trouble, he probably would have beaten me up. Basically because I didn't stand for any of his bullshit. And Andy and I know, and the big ticket know me very well, that I don't care who you are, you know. I'm not doing anything out of to get myself in trouble just to make you happy. And basically, the rules are the rules. And if you're supposed to be someplace, and I'd go right into the head coach, I'd go right in to see Mike Singletary and say, look, this guy's a piece of shit, okay? We all know there's a reason why he fell to 10, because no one wanted this headache. And basically I said, look, I'm not going to go out of my way to break the law in order for this guy to be on time for meetings. And Michael Crabtree didn't like that. And I said, you know what, be a man, grow up, and figure it out. Now, as far as his talent goes, his talent is off the charts. Off the charts. The catch that he made was unbelievable. This guy just is surrounding himself with really, really low-life type of people. And if it weren't for his talent, this guy would be in the gutter. He'd be selling drugs or knocking up white broads, you know, pretty much. So I don't care for Michael Crabtree, but he is very, very good receiver.
All right, speaking of
Unless you ask Richard Sherman.
Speaking of great receivers and great players, big ticket Brady on Patriots play, quote, great game to watch. New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady complimented his replacement Jimmy Garoppolo on a solid Sunday night performance against the Cardinals and said, quote, it was a great game to watch.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It was a great game to watch. I was watching it from home just like Tom Brady was, and yeah, I wouldn't expect him to say anything different. I mean, you know, even if he watched the game. Jimmy Garoppolo did some really good things at the end of that game. I thought he came out. He didn't look terribly confident. He was being really safe with the ball. But that's the kind of stuff that, you know, they needed out of him. They couldn't have him going in there and turning the ball over and stuff like that and winning the game. So he did what he needed to. He played really well at the end of the game. And you know, as far as the Patriots, they won a game that, you know, when you look at the schedule starting the season, it was a game that maybe they shouldn't have won, but that's the type of games that they win. You know, the Patriots are a solid organization from top to bottom, and they worked hard and they earned it. And I wouldn't go out and sign Jimmy Garoppolo today based on watching it, but I think he'll be serviceable in the first 4 games.
He's better than a lot of quarterbacks out there right now. He's better than half the league.
Speaking of other quarterbacks, Kaepernick continues anthem protest, others join. San Francisco. Your reaction, dude. San Francisco's Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid again knelt during the national anthem Monday, while other players from both the 49ers and Rams chose to raise their fists.
This whole, you know what, that when I saw these, and the Patriots guys did it, raise their fist. Come on. This is not 1969. This is not... The racial barrier has come so far since 1969 with the raising the fist and the Black Panthers and all that other bullshit. Look, there's no segregated... I mean, nothing is segregated right now. There's really, you know, you guys really have it better than most individuals who really should. If anyone should be raising their fists, it's people that live in Mississippi or fucking Alabama, don't have a pot to piss in, and you know, they're really still, you know, getting over the racial, you know, events that happened in the 1960s. These guys have not had the one thing to worry about since they were freshmen in high school. Everything's been taken care of. They've never bought a textbook. They've never made their own class. They never even went to school, and they've pretty much been handed millions of dollars because they're talented at one thing, playing football. Now when they just it bugs the shit out of me is like these guys, you know, Black Lives Matter and all this other garbage, you know, and the raising of the fist, like you guys are not directly affected by what happened in the 60s. Don't try to come back and play that card that we can still raise our fist because of why? Because of that the police are doing their job. Now, when we look at all this, you know, oppression of black people, whatever this garbage is, police are doing their job. Now, police are not just attacking black people. The black people are actually going out and breaking the law, and that the police are trying to do their job. So by the police doing their job, we're still, we still, they feel as though we still need to pay them back for what happened to their grandfathers and their ancestors. That's a bunch of garbage. You know, back in the 60s, a lot of guys black people weren't even allowed to play football or Major League Baseball. They broke that for you guys. Just shut your mouth. You listen to the American flag and get over it. Get over yourself with all this other garbage with the taking a knee or doing this other bullshit or raising your fist like you're part of the Black Panthers. If you're part of the Black Panthers, go be a Black Panther. Don't be an NFL football player. It's a bunch of garbage.
Big ticket, Kirk Cousins. Redskins failed to execute on opening night. Despite throwing for 329 yards, Kirk Cousins struggled in the red zone as the Redskins, much like in 2015, lost to one of the NFL's stronger teams.
I didn't think Kirk Cousins looked that good. For a guy who's making $20 million this year, I can see why Washington didn't sign him with the long-term extension, because when you think about, the ball placement of some of the passes that he threw, I didn't think that he looked like a $20 million quarterback. So, he put up some yards, but it wasn't enough, and they ended up going out there and losing the game, and, he gets paid to win the game. So, moving forward, we'll see what he can do. It's a long season, but I think it definitely, at least for me, from my perspective watching this game, it raised a couple eyebrows, and, we'll see what he's like moving forward.
Mclovin, Rams defensive tackle Donald ejected late and lost to 49ers. Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald was ejected in the fourth quarter of a blowout loss to the 49ers for unnecessary roughness and then making contact with an official.
Yeah, I think it was frustration. Big Ticket was texting me about how, and I agree with him, the Rams looked like absolute dog shit. Now, I mean, this is a team that just re-upped Jeff Fisher. Now, Jeff Fisher, if you didn't know this, had been a head coach in the NFL for 21 years. He's missed the playoffs 16 of those 21 years. And this is a guy who they just gave an extra 4 years and whatever million. Jeff Fisher is one of the worst football coaches.
He's the most overrated football coach in the history of the NFL. Everyone thinks he's a winning coach, but he's not.
He's not. And the team was clearly not ready. It's not like San Francisco 40. This was not the 85 Bears they played, the other night. I know you got to give a lot of credit to San Francisco, but LA is just that's a mess. I mean, that's an absolute mess. And Aaron Donald, who is a top-notch, defensive lineman in the league, was frustrated. These guys get frustrated because they're watching their team get, their tails handed to them by a team that was, 5-11 last year, 6-10 or whatever. Now, going forward, Jeff Fisher is not even close to knowing what his team is capable of because they suck. So.
You got your number one pick in street clothes, and I get you don't want to throw people to the fire, but when your team looks that bad, you got to do something to try and win. It was ugly.
It's terrible.
It was the toilet bowl.
It's terrible.
The beginning of the game to the end of the game, they never got it together.
No.
All right, Big Ticket, return to West Coast ugly for overmatched Los Angeles Rams. The Rams couldn't have made a very good impression on their new Los Angeles fans as they laid an egg in getting shut out by the 49ers.
Well, one of the things that really stuck out to me was how bad the offensive line play was. You got a running back in Todd Gurley who, proved last year that he can be a real weapon. And his longest run of the game was 10 yards, and he had to do 2 spins to even get to the 10 yards. It was ugly. He never had a chance. And, you couple that with some pretty poor quarterback play by Case Keenum. And, the defense couldn't do anything to stop the 49ers. Made Blaine Gabbert look like a good quarterback, which he's not. And, he literally, Blaine Gabbert sits back in the pocket and he doesn't know what he's doing half the time. He's reading the field, and they just kept letting him do it. And he's just sitting back there staring guys down, and he's completing passes and scoring 28 points for the 49ers. And it was sad. If I didn't know that the Rams traded for that number 1 pick, I would have assumed they were the worst team in the league last year. And they weren't, but they looked like it this year. And it's awful. It's going to be a rough year for them in LA.
Mclovin, Case Keenum on Rams Week 1 offense, quote, "This is not us." Quarterback Case Keenum and the Rams unable to get anything going offensively in an ugly season debut. Vow to play better in Week 2 versus Seattle.
Well, they can't play any worse, So you can vow all you want. You can vow up and down the street, but guess what? No one gives a shit. I think Case Keenum is not a bad guy. He's not a good quarterback for sure, and you know, any team like what Big Ticket was saying is that your 53-man rosters, the guy that you drafted #1 overall is not even on the active roster right now. Is a bunch of garbage. This guy needs to, if you're going to get beat 28-0, you might as well go see what you have. Why protect the kid when it's not like the Case Keenum is Joe Montana and they have the 85 Bears defense where they don't necessarily have to use a kid. You might as well see what you got. Their running game just got completely shut down, and that's what teams are going to do. Is they're going to shut down Gurley all day long and make either Case Keenum or Jared Goff or whatever the fuck the third guy's name is beat him. And it's not going to – and that's all they're going to do. And it's pretty simple, Shut them down the run, make them throw to an overrated Tavon Austin or Dontavian Austin, I think they're in trouble for the year.
Here's somebody who's not in trouble, Big Ticket. Running back Lamar Miller, happy with big role in Texans offense. After one game in Houston, it seems Lamar Miller has found a prominent role for the Texans that he never had with the Dolphins.
It's good, and Lamar Miller is one of my guys out of the U, and I'm excited for him to have a role that he's suited for. He's got a ton of speed as a running back, and he's got good vision, and now being in a situation where he's got a full workload, we'll really get to see what he's truly made of, and I'm excited for him. I'm excited for, the Houston Texan fans have a lot to look forward to with, picking up Brock Osweiler, and, we'll see what he's got, and Lamar Miller, coming in and replacing Arian Foster. So it could be a big year for Lamar Miller. It really could.
Here's somebody who's going to have a big year, big next 4 years. Packers Bakhtiari among top paid offensive tackles with deal. David Bakhtiari will be among the top 5 highest paid offensive tackles in the NFL after reaching a 4-year extension with the Packers.
Well, I mean, just like we talked about in the NBA in the offseason, it's more of the time rather than how good the player is, meaning that basically his contract is based off of the top 5 to 10 offensive linemen, what they're getting paid. Is he a top 5 to 10 offensive lineman? Absolutely not, but it was his time to get a contract, and he got paid. And basically the guys, all it comes down to is being born in the right year, because the way the money in the NFL keeps on rising, and he was fortunate to be born that year with all these other players, and now he's going to reap the benefits of getting a big contract when basically he's not he should not be paid like a top 5 or top 10 offensive lineman. So it's all timing, but basically good for him.
All right, here's somebody who's good for it. Big Ticket. Redskins defend decision not to isolate Josh Norman on Antonio Brown. The Washington Redskins have been second-guessed for not specifically matching up Josh Norman on Antonio Brown, but are defending their mindset.
Does it say anything as to what the defense is? Because I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear why you're going to go and pay a guy $70 million and not have him cover the #1 receiver on the team.
In the league.
It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd to me.
Absurdity.
And Josh Norman,
he's a piece of shit.
I feel like if Josh Norman really wanted some Antonio Brown, he should have went and said it. He should have went and said, hey, listen, I'm the #1 guy. I'm the guy getting paid the money. I'm here to shut down Antonio Brown. Let me do that. I get he's on a new team and it's the first week and all that, but if he's got no problem running his mouth constantly about everything, correct, all the time. If he really wanted a piece of Antonio Brown, I'm sure he would have said something. But he didn't, because Antonio Brown's the best receiver in the league, hands down, by far. It's not even close. And he didn't want anything to do with that because he would have made him look bad.
Source, Mclovin. Redskins bringing back veteran Jenkins. One day after the Redskins lost 38-16 to Pittsburgh, a source confirms they are re-signing veteran defensive end Colin Jenkins, who was released in the team's final roster cuts.
So they signed him from New York Giants. Remember, because we talked about them signing him. They cut him and they're bringing him back. Yeah. I don't think whether Colin Jenkins is there or not is going to really determine the outcomes of their games. The Monday night game, and we watched a little bit of it, and basically, to build off of what Mike was saying, he's completely right, 120%. This guy Josh Norman, really makes a lot of noise with his mouth. Very, very talented guy, but no defensive quarter in their right mind is going to take their best corner. Do you ever see Deion Sanders not covering Michael Irvin just because of the way that? No, fuck no. If these guys are a true competitor, they want to go up against the best. He's just too scared in the fact that he is more likely to get beat than he is to beat Antonio Brown. And if you truly want to be the number one corner in this league, and you truly want to back up, your talk with your play, then play Antonio Brown straight up the entire game, and we'll see who the best player is. Clearly, by not even attempting to play him every down, shows that he's scared. Because any competitor would just say, no, I want him one-on-one, and that's why you pay him. That's why, just like the big ticket said, you pay him all this money so he can shut down the number one receiver. So by having him cover some other decent player rather than Antonio Brown really goes against everything that you stand for as far as the defense and as far as an organization paying this guy that much money. Cullen Jenkins, I know that was a question, but I don't think they're going to win or lose based on.
He's
coach.
Towards the end of his career. Yeah. I mean, he's a good option. He was good when he was in Green Bay, but he's way past his prime.
Well, here's one big ticket. Rex has lap band removed to back brother Rob.
What?
Rex Ryan had his lap band removed in a show of solidarity with his brother Rob, who had to have the device removed due to complications, the Bills head coach told
Complications means that he's eating too much. You don't have the complications from a lap band.
So he's getting his removed out of what? Out of protest?
No, he's getting his removed to support his
so they
brother.
could both eat.
So they can both eat a lot together?
Eat food!
Yeah.
Well,
Watch
nice.
football!
That's nice. You really support your brother. Hey, you know what? Let's get rid of this thing that was going to save our life.
Let's both have heart attacks instead of you having
yeah. If you go down, we go down together, right?
If you can't eat, no one can. Mclovin.
jelly. I can't even afford jelly.
Mclovin. Carson Wentz jersey, the top seller across NFL since
Tell me about it. I went and tried to buy one. They're sold out all on the East Coast.
Carson Wentz's success in his Eagles debut Sunday has resulted in a boost in his jersey sales. His number 11 is the top NFL seller since Sunday.
Good for him.
All right, big ticket. Source, Brockers, Rams agreed a new deal. The Rams and defensive tackle Michael Brockers have agreed to the framework of an extension, the source tells ESPN's Josina Anderson.
The way they played on Monday night, they shouldn't be extending anybody. They should just be figuring out how they can scrap this entire damn team and start fresh. Brockers, I mean, he's a decent player, and their D-line is probably the strength of their team, but with how bad they looked, it sucks for them because I know they're coming off like a 500 year and they thought they were going to take a step forward and maybe get into the playoffs, but God, they looked so terrible against a 49ers team who I'm convinced is terrible. So I think it's really poorly timed, if anything.
All right, Mclovin, VP Biden tells President Obama to, quote, get on the Wentz wagon. President Barack Obama wasn't nearly as enthusiastic about Carson Wentz and the Eagles as Joe Biden, but there was a good reason why that's the case.
My guy, Joe Biden. Get on the Wentz wagon, Pat. There's room for one more.
We have so many things wrong with the United States. We have so many things wrong with our foreign policy. We have so many things wrong with, people coming into our country that shouldn't be here. We have so many things wrong with this. We have so many things wrong with we're getting crushed by ISIS. We have the fact of the matter that Joe Biden is talking to about Carson Wentz is just shows you that they've really mailed it in, those two.
It's done. Terms
they
over.
Mailed them in, and the Democrat, she came and stand on her own feet because
we just got to start pardoning
she
people.
probably sent them a couple emails, a bunch of bullshit. Hillary Clinton and all that. The Democrats are a bunch of horse's ass. I just can't wait. Just the fact that they're talking about Carson Wentz, about that's the vice president in the president. Did you ever see John F. Kennedy or fucking Franklin Roosevelt They're truly about, you know, protecting our country, and then that's why they were great presidents. Where this guy in office right now, I won't even say his name because he's such a disgrace. But basically, they should focus on fulfilling their job and fulfilling what this country needs.
All right, speaking of what this country needs, a big ticket. Running back Ivory out of hospital, no timetable for return. Jaguars running back Chris Ivory has been released from the hospital and is doing well, the team announced. No timetable has been set for his return.
All I heard was that it was non-football related, and I don't know what he was in the hospital for, but he is supposed to be a guy who's going to get some carries in Jacksonville this year after having a decent year last year in New York. And he's getting towards the end of his career, so he's got to, you know, any time where he's out is going to be valuable time for him. And
probably had to fill out a rape kit.
Mclovin, Revis confident he'll rebound from Week 1 woes. Jets cornerback Darrelle Revis is, quote, very confident he will be able to bounce back from his Week 1 performance against the Bengals, one of the worst games of his career.
Well,
I heard the opposite.
As far as confidence goes with Darrelle Revis, it's never been an issue. This guy is clearly on the back nine of his career. But basically, you know, half a Revis is better than a lot of corners in this league. Granted, you know, he was going up against one of the best receivers in the NFL, AJ Green. AJ Green is a tremendous player. I don't think you're going to have too much to worry about Revis for the rest of the year.
Big ticket. Dolphins put defensive tackle Mitchell on IR, signed linebacker Butler. Defensive tackle Earl Mitchell, who played Week 1 after missing all of camp with a calf injury, was placed on injured reserve by the Dolphins, who signed linebacker Donald Butler to fill his roster spot.
Pretty much as close to irrelevant as you can get, I'd say.
Speaking of things that are not irrelevant, Mclovin, Denver PD Chief Broncos Marshal talk issues. Broncos linebacker Brandon Marshall and Denver Police Chief Robert White met for nearly an hour on Tuesday to discuss his national anthem protest.
This is ridiculous. I mean, why does he have to meet with what are we talking? I mean, what are we doing here? He needs to meet with the
boy.
He needs to meet with the chief of police. Like, what is the police going to tell him? You know, you're going to get arrested if you don't do it. Like, what are they actually talking about for now?
It's a good PR move.
It's just a load of garbage. I mean, this guy should be out trying to find rapists and murderers, and he's taking the time out of his day to meet with a piece of shit. I don't really care for either person.
Well, speaking of good PR moves, big ticket, Redskins lineman Coangio, now a U.S. citizen. Redskins offensive lineman Ari Coangio and Orioles pitcher Ubaldo Jimenez both became U.S. citizens this week.
Congratulations,
yeah, because they can play sports, of course.
Mclovin, here's another team that can play sports.
Okay.
Scoring 35 should be enough to win, but not with this Colts defense. The Colts defense lacks the identity and healthy bodies to do its part for an offense that looks primed to put up a lot of points this season.
The Colts defense has been such garbage, and it's not just it's not magic that they're so bad. That we've been talking about this Colts defense being terrible for the last 3 or 4 years. And they have not done one thing to get better. And I don't feel bad for them. I hate the Colts. I hate Irsay. I hate the piece of shit GM who whined and cried to the NFL, and that's where this whole Deflategate started when they got beat 42-10 in a playoff game against New England. And it's just they suck. Their defense sucks. We'll just leave it at that.
Big ticket, LA move boosts Rams value to $2.9 billion. According to Forbes, the Rams are now the 6th most valuable team in the NFL at $2.9 billion. Last year, while in St. Louis, the team was valued at $1.45 billion.
That's not surprising at all that the value is up now that they live in, the second biggest sports market in the country. But they still suck, and they're still terrible. And they have a couple good pieces to build around, but, I mean, yeah, they're in LA now, so they're going to be much more valuable than anything St. Louis has to offer.
Mclovin, Eli Manning received texts from Tom Coughlin before and after Giants win. Eli Manning got some extra support on game day from two guys who now have more time on their hands. Big brother Peyton and former coach Tom Coughlin.
The writer of that article has way too much time on his hands.
Big ticket. Goodell, NFL pledging $100 million to player safety. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said that the league is pledging $100 million in starting a program to promote player safety.
Well, it's a good thing that they are making it look like they care about player safety. That's all I have to say on
Sure. Here at Mclovin, Rams quarterback Jared Goff could be promoted in Week 2 to backup. Rams coach Jeff Fisher says number 1 overall pick Jared Goff, who spent the opener in street clothes, is, quote, pushing along.
He can't call plays. That's the problem.
Okay.
He sounds like an idiot. If anybody watched the Hard Knocks camp, he can't. He doesn't know the terminology, so the reason why he's not out there is because he's not ready as far as being comfortable with the playbook and everything. The whole 3-2 thing, that doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Eventually, he's going to have to play, and we'll just have to see what happens.
Add C.J. Spiller to costly list of Saints spending failures. After releasing running back C.J. Spiller on Tuesday, the Saints now have more than 25% of their salary cap dedicated to players no longer on the team.
Oh, my God. Mickey Loomis, that's terrible.
Somebody's got to lose their job for that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Well, speaking of somebody who wanted to do his job, Antonio Brown says Josh Norman wanted to cover me one-on-one. Antonio Brown had 126 yards and 2 scores on Monday Night Football, but don't blame Redskins cornerback Josh Norman, who got few chances to cover him. Apparently, Brown's sticking up for Norman, saying he wanted to cover him.
That's bullshit.
Okay. Redskins Jay Gruden says Kirk Cousins still a young quarterback. Jay Gruden said seeing Kirk Cousins struggle like on Monday shouldn't be a shock since he's only made 26 starts, despite being in the NFL since 2012.
26 starts is a good chunk of starts.
Yeah,
He should be.
It's almost 2
And it doesn't
seasons.
have anything to do with him throwing the ball inaccurately. Like, it's not like the coverages, it's not adjusting to the speed of the game, it's just him not throwing the ball well.
Jets quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick dominates Rubik, but struggles with Rex, the Rubik Cube. Ryan Fitzpatrick had made himself a good NFL quarterback due to his smarts, but the Jets quarterback has not been able to figure out how to beat Rex Ryan.
In the Rubik's Cube?
Now, in general. He's good with the Rubik's Cube, but he can't beat Rex Ryan.
In what?
Football.
What?
What does this have to do with a Rubik's Cube?
Okay,
Wait,
he's
what?
smart, like Rubik's Cube.
I know he's the only player to ever get a 50 out of 50 on the Wonderlic. He went to Harvard.
Yeah, correct.
But what's the
So he's smart, but he's not smart enough to beat Rex Ryan, is what they're saying.
in what?
In football.
But how do you play one-on-one in football?
He can't beat the
Correct.
the Bills' defense.
Just like-
there.
Oh,
That's what they're trying
Yeah,
to
all
say.
right. Jeff Fisher okay with Rams players raising fists during anthem. He's okay with it.
yeah, because he's stupid.
That's good.
Rams coach Jeff Fisher has reverence for the national anthem and addressed it with the team during camp, but understands the right to protest.
If I was Jeff Fisher, I'd be good with anything. If I still had a job 21 years later after failing at it 16 years, I would be cool with everything.
Master Sergeant Cedric King on Colin Kaepernick. Quote, kneeling will not stop the injustice. Cedric King, who lost his legs in Afghanistan, says 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick could face a hostile crowding conservative North Carolina on Sunday.
Good.
And let's see. Looks like we are done with the news and notes, folks. Let's go right to the picks now. We're going right to the picks. Mclovin against the spread last week went 10-5-1. So if you guys haven't started betting with his picks, you're fucking retarded.
You're giving money away.
Let's go right to the week 2 picks. We're going to go right into the spread with Mclovin. Jets at the Bills, Thursday night game. Jets are favored by 1 on the road.
Jets -1.
Okay, let's do this right here. So we have Jets -1. All right, Bengals against the Steelers. Bengals against the Steelers. Bengals are in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh at home is favored by 3.5.
Cincinnati +3.5.
Okay, then we have Titans at Detroit. Detroit at home is favored by 5.5.
Detroit -5.5.
Okay, then we have Ravens in Cleveland. Baltimore on the road is favored by 6.5.
Baltimore -6.5.
All right, then we have Cowboys at the Redskins. At home, Washington is favored by 2.5.
Dallas +2.5.
Okay, then we have Saints at the Giants. At home, the Giants are favored by 4.5.
Saints +4.5.
Okay, then we have the 49ers at the Panthers. Panthers at home are favored by 13.5.
San Francisco +13.5.
Okay, we have the Dolphins at the Patriots. Patriots at home are favored by 6.5.
New England minus 6.5.
Okay, Chiefs at the Texans. Houston at home is favored by 2.5.
Chiefs at the Texans. Houston.
Minus 2.5.
Yep.
All right, we have Seahawks for the 4 o'clock rounds. Seahawks in St. Louis, Seahawks in Los Angeles. Seahawks on the road are favored by 3.5.
Seattle minus 3.5.
Okay, then we have Buccaneers at the Cardinals. Arizona at home is favored by 7.
Go Bucks!
Arizona minus 7.
All right, then we have Jaguars at Chargers. San Diego at home is favored by 3.
Jacksonville plus 3.
Okay, then we have Falcons at the Raiders. Oakland at home is favored by 4.5.
Oakland minus 4.5.
Okay, we have the Colts at the Broncos. Denver at home is favored by 6.
Colts at the Broncos. Denver's favored by 6.
Correct.
It's a tough one. Denver minus 6.
Okay, and the Sunday night game, Packers at Vikings. Green Bay on the road is favored by 2.5.
Minnesota plus 2.5.
Really?
Wow.
All right, it's interesting. And then
You
the
heard it here first.
Yeah, and then the Monday night game, Eagles in Chicago. Chicago at home is favored by 3.
Philly plus 3.
All right, let's go to last week's results with the straight pickems. We'll do
Straight pick 'em.
This is the week 1 picks. Okay, now how I did it with everybody, because we all of us here forgot, and really my fault, I didn't read the game off apparently, but we forgot to go over the Colts game. So I gave everybody one less loss. Okay, so if you picked the Colts, you didn't get the loss for that. If you picked the Lions, you got a loss removed from you. Okay, does that make sense? So everybody, it's a 15-game week 1 situation. Now, how it works, if you end up beating Mclovin and or the big ticket, you get a gift card of your choice to anywhere you want it to be. For week 2, for you guys who are brand new, for the week 2 situations, you start your own league, put your picks in. They have to be in by Thursday before game time.
We got that draft
All of
starting
them.
in like a half hour.
Yep,
correct?
draft starts in a half hour, but that's something else. For those of you who watched last week's video, by the time you obviously see this, it's going to be too late. But the deal is this. If you miss a week, you're automatically disqualified. So if you forget to put your week, picks in, goodbye. So, last week, ex-captain Erroneous X leads the pack with an 11-4 record. Then we have Tom Brady, Patrick Jr., CV Gunn, and Yes to Anything That Is Cool Awesome. All 3 are at 10-5. Steve Goldman and Vadix went 9-6. And in last place, we have C&J Sports Cards at 7-8. Don't think I missed anybody here. No, I did not. Now, last week for the...
We just have one winner.
We have one winner. It would be ex-captain Erroneous X, who ended up beating both me and Mclovin. However, Mike, the big ticket, went 12-3 last week, so he's in first place overall.
Outright winner.
I went 9-6, and Mclovin went 10-5. So let's go into our week 2 picks. We have Jets and Bills. Who do you have, big ticket?
Where's the game?
In Buffalo.
I'm still taking the Jets.
Jets. What about you?
Jets.
All right, I'm going to be taking Buffalo. So Mike and Pat pick the Jets. Next up, Bengals Steelers. Big ticket. Who do you have?
I like Pittsburgh.
I'll take Cincinnati.
So Mike and Andy pick Pittsburgh. All right, next up, Titans and Lions.
I like the Lions.
Lions.
Okay, Detroit for all 3. Ravens and Browns.
Ravens.
Ravens.
Baltimore for all 3. Cowboys and Redskins.
Ooh. I will take the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Okay, Dallas for all 3. Saints and Giants.
Saints.
Giants.
Okay, Mike and Andy pick the Saints.
Where is that game?
In New York.
In New York. That explains it.
49ers, Panthers.
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 Okay, Carolina for all 3. Dolphins, Pats.
New England.
Patriots.
Pats for all 3. Chiefs, Texans.
Texans.
Take the Texans.
I'm going to take Kansas City. So Houston for Pat and Mike. Seahawks, Rams
Seahawks.
Seattle.
for all three. Buccaneers, Cardinals.
Cardinals.
I'm going to take the Bucks.
Yeah, you have a game.
All right, so,
Taking the Bucks.
So Arizona for Pat and Andy.
Now, if Arizona loses that game,
Then they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Jaguars, Chargers.
Jaguars.
Jacksonville.
Okay, Jacks, all three. Falcons, Raiders.
Raiders.
Oakland, all three. Colts, Broncos.
Broncos.
Take the Colts.
So
Wow.
Denver for Pat and Andy. Packers, Vikings.
Packers.
Vikings.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So Green Bay for Patrick and or for Mike and Andy, and Eagles, Bears.
Eagles.
Eagles.
Yeah. Philadelphia, all three. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We just wanted to make sure we had all 16 games on the schedule. And
Is it too late to change a pick?
Quickly. What do you want?
Broncos.
Broncos.
Taking the Broncos over the Colts.
So all three. So
Yeah.
Denver's all three
Why did you originally take the Colts?
because they thought it was in the.
Because I wanted to take the Colts, and then I'm sitting here, and my Von Miller get up, and I'm like, come on, you got to take the Broncos.
So
it's not time to get cute, right?
So speaking of getting cute,
I got cute once.
Here's the deal. Last week I had some choice words. I said the Pats are going to get fucking annihilated. I said it was going to be close.
You went right out on that
I
one.
wish I had it queued up here so you could all hear it, but I don't have it queued up. But yeah, I was wrong. Way wrong. I was shocked. I think everybody in the world was shocked.
Show.
Not Mclovin, though. He said, oh, it's going to be close and the Pats are going to win. And I said, I didn't know how. Again, defensively, I thought it'd be close, sure. But Garoppolo doing what he did, that is not the Jimmy Garoppolo I saw in person against the Bills in Week 16. It is not the same Jimmy Garoppolo we saw in the preseason for the last 2 or 3 years. And he had this one drive, and I told the big ticket the other day at work. I said, listen, he had that one drive in the fourth quarter where he literally did a Tom Brady type of situation where he got out of the pocket, started moving around, and threw like a 30-yard pass.
Yep.
Forget who it was to.
Over the top.
He showed up in a big moment.
Yeah,
So,
I
good
mean,
for him.
that's a Tom Brady
That
type
was
of throw.
to Amendola.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yep. So here's the deal. So guys, thanks for watching. To all you new subs,
And it doesn't
check out
make
the
Andy
show.
a bad person because everyone else and their mother picked that as
I picked the Cardinals.
Yeah,
I didn't
so,
go quite out as far on the limb as Andy did.
Correct. You said it would be
did pick the
close,
Cardinals.
but you all said you wouldn't
been
be shocked.
and I
Wouldn't
wasn't
been shocked. I was shocked.
Yes.
I was shocked, and I also said if it is close and they lose, I'd be more furious than if they got blown out.
Sure.
So and they almost did.
Sure.
But the deal is this: is that a sure yes or a sure no? But the deal is this, guys. Thanks for watching. This has been week 4, but week 2 of the NFL season of Fantasy Football with Mclovin, guest starring the Big Ticket. And remember, this episode has been brought to you by Is the Father in the Picture Productions. If you don't know where your father is, ask your mother, is he in the picture? So, thanks for watching, guys. All you new subs, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Peace out, guys.